Google has just released Google Workspace Studio for their Workspace customers. These are businesses or anyone who has a Google's Workspace account, which is like a custom email. So instead of having akshat@gmail.com, you can have Akshat at a custom domain and access a ton of other features. I'm going to walk you through the whole product on how does it actually behave, what are the pros and cons. So let's get started. When you land upon Studio, it's pretty simple. It gives you a couple of options and we're going to test it out on how the templates work. But one of the options that you can get started is asking Gemini to create a workflow for you. So I can create a simple workflow where I can say, summarize all my emails from yesterday. And that's pretty much it. And now Gemini will try to create a workflow utilizing all the features that exist within the workspace. This does not connect anywhere externally. For example, it only connects to only Gmail products. And I'll show that to you what that means in a second. So see, I can schedule something that every Monday at 8 a.m. it can automatically create an email summary for me and then repeat weekly, or I can even make it repeat daily and ends after, let's say, like 1 week. So I can schedule this to run every Monday at 8 a.m. and then ask Gemini to technically summarize all the emails that I received yesterday, group them by sender, and highlight any action items or urgent requests. And as you can see, we allow Gemini to use any workspace and connected apps. And then finally, I get notified by email. So let's actually test this. And if you can see, the UI is super simple. It simply creates a workflow from a vertical format. And technically, given that right now it's just using Gmail and all the Google services, it's pretty simple. We're going to test this by clicking on test run below and just click on start. And now it will automatically trigger the workflow as an example and see what the result comes out to be. So as you can see, it has created a briefing. So you can see there is some option on Balaji, and again there is a newsletter that I get, and it has also sent an email. So if I just switch to my inbox right now, as you can see in the inbox, I've got an email from there automatically and with all the details, which is a pretty cool workflow, and it took literally a second. Doing this in n8n would be probably same and take like 5 to 10 minutes, but the point is I did not have to do anything here, and it's literally what Google is aiming for right now as the initial product, where it's for personal productivity and nobody has to figure out on how to utilize a completely new tool, learn it from scratch and everything else. And that's a pretty cool technique. Now let's try to create a workflow by ourselves. So if I come here and click on new flow, I'm going to try to create a simple workflow where it technically can filter my emails and automatically categorize them. The first step, as you can see, we have an option to choose a trigger, and there are very limited options because this is based on all the Google options that you have. So a file, a sheet, a Google Meet, or an email. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to select on when I get an email, and I want to technically allow it to categorize. So I'm going to select all emails, or I can even choose specific emails. So right now, just to do a test, we are just going to select all emails and then select technically to decide what this email should be. So if the emails requires a response, me to reply, then make it true. So I'm going to just give this that if the email expects a reply from me, make this true, because not every email does. And I'm going to select variables, and I'm going to select email, and I'm going to input the email subject, and I'm going to say this, here are the email details. You can just select email body, and you can even select when email was sent by just pressing @. So if you select @, you can see all the variables that you have, and I can just when the email was sent. With this, I can say if the decision is true. So here you can see if the decision is true, we want to technically make that email as a priority, and we can start that email. As you can see, we can also add a step. So I can also add a label, and I can say what this is important, let's say, and I can just create a new label, which is very simply like you can say IMP and create that, and this will automatically also categorize the email in importance for me. So with this, we can get started, but as you can see, there is an issue here, and this is very simply asking it that which email do you want to start. And here I'm going to select the email ID from the top. So every email that comes from the top, I'm going to categorize this, and this is pretty good. We can now click on test run, and let's see how it turns out. So click on start. We received the daily email summary, which is the first email that I got recent. This is the email that we have. Let's see wanted, which is technically not an email that requires my response. Let's see. So because there in the summary of the email, there was a action item that I had to perform. So that's why it requires me to again very simply, like, it categorized it as a start email. So if I come here, you can see in important, and as you can see, it has created a new important IMP, and here it's automatically tagged that email. So it works pretty flawlessly, and it's also pretty simple to use. I'm also going to change this to mark important emails. Now, another feature that is available to us here is we can see in the activity that what every time that it runs, and then automatically every time it has a run, and then very simply see how the run was working. You can also see all the workflows that you have here, and you can see the issues if they have something. I created, for example, a workflow where you can filter all the demarc emails. So in the demarc emails, you can see very simply where we are deciding, again in the same format, adding a label and doing something similar. Now they have a ton of options here. One of my coolest, or my favorite ones, is actually about getting a summary for before a meeting. If you see here, I've created a workflow which technically, based on a meeting, it technically creates a doc which has details about that particular meeting so that I can be prepared. If I do a test run, it will ask Gemini to create a capture of all the details about that particular meeting, and then finally create a doc and store all that information here. I can even ask it to send me a message in chat and notify me that a doc is created for the email. So here is your new doc for the upcoming meeting, and I can select the doc, which could be the link to the doc, and the meeting name also. So if I just do this, meeting name, I can have meeting title here and the doc name. And if I now test run this again, and very simply come back to this, so if I come back here, test run this again, you will see now it will not only create a doc, and as you can see here, we have got, like, here are the details about your new meeting, and with all the details about the flow, and also the document, and sent by Workspace Studio, which is pretty cool. This is something pretty good, that it all works within the Workspace, and you don't need to connect anything external. That, imagine, like, I don't have to go to a separate chat, I don't have to go anywhere else. Here you can see again, it works really well, and I can keep it on and it will keep running automatically. So if I bring you back to the workflows, I can say very simply which are running, and the activity is all automatically available here for all the workflows that you have. So everything that keeps running will keep running here. For example, the daily summary can be turned on or turned off, and if I turn this on, very simply it will automatically now get turned on, and now you can save changes and everything else. So if I go back now to the workflows, you will see it is an active one and everything else is stopped, which makes sense because you can see all the workflows that you have, and then you can keep working across that. There are also a ton of options that they've created here regarding meetings. Get pre-chat meeting briefs in the chat, get summaries and everything else, which is pretty cool. Instead of the doc, I can get all the information in the chat. But overall, my approach is that this is a pretty good tool to get started. It will help a lot of people who are on the Google Workspace to improve their productivity on a personal level, and see how Gemini can actually work with all these tools and do things without them always trying to prompt it. And that's the idea here. It's not right now a replicate of n8n or trying to replace that, even though it looks like that. But the point is, it's more about allowing people to use Gemini more in Workspace and really able to do more with it. So let me know what your thoughts are about that, and I will love to hear them all out in the comment section. And if you want to keep learning about new tools and AI stuff, do subscribe to the channel, and I would love to see you in the next one. Till then, see you.